Welcome to my channel. This is Swag the Illest, and today I'm going to be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10. Now, I'm not going to be doing the whole episode because most of the couples are boring to me. I'm just going to say it. They're boring. They're boring to watch. They're hard to watch. But one couple that's not hard to watch is Chris and Paige. And you guys asked me to review Chris and Paige's relationship. You want to know what I think? You guys found me on Instagram. Good job, because I have not shown my Instagram, my IG, or nothing. So you guys are good at locating me. So the three of you that are subscribed to my channel, let's talk about it. Chris is a successful something. I don't know what the heck he does. I think he has franchises. And I actually don't know what Paige does either. But I'm pretty sure they're successful because it seems like they don't pick bums to be on this show. One thing I want to point out very clearly is that it seems as though the Chris that interviewed is not the same Chris that is on the show. And we've heard the producers mention that multiple times, that when we interviewed him, he was a different person. He was completely different. So Chris seems like a manipulative person all around, not just in this relationship, but just to get on the show, in life in general. It seems like no people know the same Chris, not the ex-girlfriend, not his parents, not his wife, not the producers, nobody. So I find that really interesting because these people are supposed to be experts in their field, and they let this little mopey mumble little boy get on the show and basically drag this girl down. So before we get into it, I wanted to just say that Chris is very manipulative and has already been proving. So let's get to the first part of this episode that mentions Chris and Paige. The show opens up, well, when you see Paige and Chris, it opens up in her apartment, I think, and she's an accountant. In her apartment, I think it's her apartment. I wouldn't let people film in my apartment. I'd be at an Airbnb or a friend's house while they're filming, but it looks like that might be her apartment, and she's back home. Okay, so it opens up with her at her house making a bed at night. Weird, right? And then she puts on her purse to go sit in her living room. Weird, right? And then she's waiting on Chris to come. And while she's waiting, she's narrating in the background that they're not communicating as much as she wants to, on the phone or with text or whatever. She says that she'd like to communicate with him more, and he didn't keep his word about starting over, or she's hopeful. And she says a little ounce of hope. She wants so little from this dude. So then she's waiting for him to arrive. She's not sure if he will. He does show up, and he's in a hoodie and some mom jeans and some, I don't know. And he comes and he sits down on the couch. He says she looks nice. Well, she says he looks nice, and he repays the compliment after giving her one of those little church hugs that you give people that you really don't want to talk to. One of those, thank you. It's nice to see you too. Little church hugs, right? So she sits on the couch. He sits on the couch, and then he immediately gets on his phone. He could have used that time to talk to her. He could have used that time to check and see how she's doing and see if she's nervous. He doesn't. But even when he's narrating, he's saying I'm not hopeful about it. It's what it is, what it is. He cocks his head to the side. He looks so, I don't even know if I can find the word. He has so much bitchalisms in his system. Figure it out for yourself. He got it in his system. He was manufactured with it in his veins. And you can tell that is not a man standing there. That is a little puppy, a puppy that doesn't know what he's doing. So he's pooping all over the place, and he's enjoying it because he's exploring new rooms in your house. But he knows that the poop is going to come back to bite him in the butt. He's going to get yelled at. But at the moment, he doesn't care. He's just pooping all over everything. He's just looking, waiting for the hammer to fall down. That's what he looks like. Just so much. Oh, that's not even a good way to, I don't even know how to explain how irritating just looking at him is, which is why I know you wanted me to review this episode. So anyway, so they're sitting on the couch, and the door has a knock on it, and it's, I'm sure, the doctor, but he says, "It's your house. Look, man, and I can't even say man because there's no man in his system. It doesn't matter whose house it is. It's nighttime. You don't let your kids or your wife answer the door at night if you're there. Everybody knows that. That's not a southern thing or a northern thing, a western thing or a midwestern thing or a northeastern thing. That's worldwide. A man who wants to be treated like a man, who wants to step into the role of a man, who calls himself a king, like this dude thinks he's a king, right? You're supposed to be the man if that's the role you want to take. If you play into those gender roles and you answer the door so your wife or your kids don't have to. But here we are, Chris with the bitchalism sitting in his system, sits on his phone texting or scrolling or whatever like a child, and he lets his woman answer the door. It's despicable. There's no man here. And I'm so glad that everybody else can see it. Because Paige don't seem to see it. And it's sitting right in front of you, girl. What is going on? Dr. Vivian makes a good point. She went straight at Kristen and was like, yo, I don't think I even know who you are because the person we interviewed is not the person that you are now. And then he blamed it on he was like, well, before the wedding, I was fine. That was the person I was my whole life. And then after the wedding, I got depressed. Finding out about kind of depressed. And Paige is sitting back like, okay, maybe that's why. And the doctor is sitting back like, oh, but you have her to help you. No, Chris. You put on a show, and this doctor knows better. She might sit there and placate you for a moment, but she knows that you got a lot of bitchalisms in your system, and you are playing a game, and she doesn't want to see Paige hurt because Paige looked too doe-eyed to realize what is going on. So I'm glad that somebody finally said it again. This is not who we interviewed. This is not who showed up on our front door. We don't know him. We don't. So good. Finally, someone said it out loud for everyone to hear. Chris is lying back on the couch, or he's leaning forward, looking down at the ground. He's not making eye contact with Paige while she's talking, not making eye contact with Dr. Vivian when she's talking. He has so little to no energy for this conversation or this thing. It's insulting and it's disrespectful all the way around. Who raised this person? Because this person is not a man. And if this was my child, I would be so embarrassed. So embarrassed. This is my brother, I'd be embarrassed. This is my cousin, I'd be embarrassed. Where are his people? Where are his people to tell him this is not what a man does? You have a wife now. And then there's so much. There's so much. But I'm watching this live with I'm trying to get it out live. So what I'm seeing here is no energy, low energy. He doesn't give two grand ducks about what's going on in this room. He clearly doesn't want to be there. He's a step away from grabbing his phone. You could tell that Dr. Vivian was like, I'm talking to you, but she didn't. She just made that face like, does he see me? Does he see that I'm talking to him? You know what I mean? So she asked Paige, what do you want from this? No, she asked like, how has it been going with Paige? And she's like, it's like we're living a nightmare. I thought I was going to get a husband. I thought I was going to start a family. This is not what I expected, but I want him to be there. I want to be there for him as much as he'll allow. And then she's like, well, what do you want from Paige? And no, Paige told him that she wanted like a phone call a day. And then he's like, yeah, that kind of feels forced. A phone call a day? A phone call a day feels forced to call your own wife? I think I figured Chris out. She was sitting there talking to Chris about giving Paige the one call a day, and he's like, that's too much because I feel like it's forced and I'm not passionate. My heart isn't in this. And she says, the world doesn't work that way. You're not putting even in an effort. You know, and that's the truth. You got to work for stuff that you want. Marriage is work. Relationships are work. Friendships are work. So everything about him says, I was coddled as a child. Everyone told me I was special and I was treated like a little prince until I wasn't. And now I just throw temper tantrums and I want my way or I just pout. Like he's a little Muppet. That's what I'm calling him, the mumbling Muppet. Chris Williams, the mumbling Muppet. Actually, I don't know if his name is Williams. But the mumbling Muppet is sitting there complaining about how his heart isn't in it. He's not passionate about it. Blah, 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 blah. And then it hit me. She said, well, what do you feel comfortable doing? That's Paige. What do you feel comfortable doing then? If you don't feel comfortable calling me every day. He said, hanging out, going out, having dinner in person, and then maybe I'll feel comfortable calling you. Oh, so he wants to take his wife out in public because you know who goes out in public with him? The cameras. He wants to go out and hang in public because you know who will go out in public with him? The cameras. He wants to eat dinner in person. I'm sure it's in public. You want to know who's going to go with them while they're eating dinner? The cameras. I wonder where these dinner eating hangout places are and who owns them. Does Chris own them? Does Chris's family own them? Is he giving free publicity to his business ventures? I wonder why he's so adamant about being out in public with her when he's not even attracted to her. That doesn't make any sense, right? Unless he's just using this show to boost up his own whatever he's got going on, whatever business he runs. That's probably it. He probably came on the show just to boost up his business. He wouldn't be the first. He's definitely not the last, and he wouldn't be the only right now. So that's what it is. Chris doesn't care about her. He don't want her. He never wanted her. He wanted some kind of attention from this show. And that's what he's getting. However, he's coming off like a little butt, like a butt. That's what he's doing. He's coming off like a butt. He needs to start acting like a man because his mumbling and his sloppy, soppy, sappy waffle of a person that's sitting next to this woman on the couch is really hard to watch. And I'm gonna have like secondhand embarrassment. I'm embarrassed for him and his family, and I'm also embarrassed for myself. Like it's like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Do you know what you look like? You don't look like somebody who's just upset and depressed. You look like everything that's wrong with the kind of man that you are. You have facilitated for all of these men the poster child. That's what you are, the poster child for the boys. Those boys that starts with F and ends with boys. That's what he is. So I have no respect for this person at this moment in time. No respect for Chris whatsoever. It is clear that he is just using this show and clearly using this woman. Clearly using her so that he can go out with those cameras and act like he is a celebrity. That's all. He's using this for a celebrity. And it's sad. And let's be honest, he's not cute. He's not cute. He's tall. But if you just stare at his face, it looks like he's just smushed in. So for him to say he's not attracted to her, I mean, nothing's working on you. Your haircut don't match your face or your hair shape. Your facial hair just needs to go. All of it, all the little scruffies on the sides and the innards and stuff. I mean, I don't know who lied to you. Who's been lying to you all this time that makes you feel superior to Paige? But you're not. Let's keep moving because I'm getting sick of them both. They go over some things that they can do for their next meetup because we're not going to call it a date. And Chris is saying, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to watch a movie. I'm not going to play cards. Like, this isn't just about you. The way she caters and coddles him is insane. Like, this isn't just about you. There's another person in the room. He's so narcissistic, so full of himself, so self-inflated. So they decide that he's going to bring food. And he asks her, can you lead Bible study? He's going to bring food to her. That's what he said. And then ask her to lead Bible study. That's what he wants to do with his wife. Lead Bible study. And then he says that maybe this is the problem because God's not in it. God's not in it. Blah, 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 blah. Chris, where was God when you were smashing your ex raw? You guys weren't married? Where was God when you were planting seeds? You weren't married? Where was God when you were making babies out of wedlock, Chris? Where was God then? Where was he? I have not seen God in any of your decisions thus far, Chrissy boy. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So she says yes. And then we go back to her apartment. Chris shows up. He's talking about he brought some chicken. Harold's chicken. Okay, Chris. I wonder why he brought Harold's chicken. Does Chris own the Harold's chicken franchise? Do they even franchise? He made sure to mention that it was from like a Chicago flavored thing. He really wanted to drop this Harold's chicken bomb. He wanted to drop that marketing. He's marketing. I'm sure Harold's Chicken did not pay to advertise on Married at First Sight. I'm positive of it. Not Harold's Chicken. They don't need it. Not Harold's. They don't need it. So, what is Chris affiliated with them somehow? Because that's what I'm getting from it. Self-serving. He comes in with the bag. They sit down and eat. And while they're eating, trying to enjoy her food, he's like, yeah, you're supposed to be leading Bible study. You're eating. You can't eat first. He wants to make sure she don't talk about nothing else. So she does. She starts to lead Bible study, which is great, wonderful. She went and grabbed her little Bible. You can tell she go to church. She got a little Bible. She got all the stuff in it. She got like the book. She got a regular Bible, then that book of the scriptures that people in the church be having. You know what I mean? Like the little book that tells you where to look in the Bible, and it has scriptures and meanings and passages and where you can like write stuff down. Like you can write stuff down on it and take notes, and it comes in a case like it's an iPad or a Kindle reader, and it zips up so it's protected from the rain, the sun, and the sunshine. And she goes to church because she has one of those. If you just one of those sometimey people that goes to church on Easter and New Year's or Christmas, you don't have one of them book covers and the inserts and the pens and the markers and the sharpies and the highlight. You don't have all that. But you can tell she's an avid churchgoer. So she brings up her little book thingy, brings it over to the table, stops eating while Chris is still eating so that she can locate a scripture, read it to him, and then what's the word? I know this word. I'm so smart. Exegete. Exiting. She was exiting the scripture, and that means like give it a meaning outside of what is written. He's the one who said he wanted to do a Bible study. He's the one who said he's going to bring the food. He just said he wanted her to lead it. He didn't bring one Bible, one marker, one Sharpie, one pencil, one pen. He didn't have the little cover or the insert or the writing pad. Nothing. He just brought chicken. When it was time to pray over the food, he wanted her to pray over the food. You're a guest in her house. You should want to pray over the food. You're the guest. Even if you brought the food, you should want to pray over the food. But he doesn't want to do that. So he's like, you gonna lead it? And she was like, yeah, well, what do you want to, what do you want to talk about? And he's like, yeah, I've been real busy. You are the one who said you wanted to have a Bible study. This feels fake. It feels fake as whatever he did in the interview to get on this show. This is not the real Chris. I don't care, Chris friends and Chris fans. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care. Shut up. This is not the real Chris. You want to know how I know? Because he doesn't have his Bible. If he was serious about having Bible study, he would have his Bible. Does he have a Bible with him? He doesn't even have the little pocket Bibles that be on the table. The little blue ones to be on the table when you're trying to leave and stuff, and there's a table and it has the mints and it has the basket and it has pamphlets, and in the basket there are the little Bibles and they're just all stacked up in there, and then you're there for the little mints, but you don't want to seem like you're trying to just take mints, so you take one of the little Bibles and you're like, oh, this is nice, yeah, I could use this to put this in my car, and you take a whole bunch of mints under it. He doesn't even have one of those. This is how you know that Chris is not serious about this Bible study thing. He just wanted to talk about his business venture. And I bet you money that he has something to do with that Harold's that showed up in Atlanta, Georgia recently. There was a Harold's chicken that showed up out here recently. Just recently. I'm talking like November, December, September. Recently, I guarantee you he had something to do with it, and that is why we are talking about Harold's in Bible. Pay attention. All this stuff is connected. This is as fake as get. You playing with God. I don't like this. I don't like this right here. When he's sitting here eating, and she's reading the scripture, talking about friendship, and I wish I could play for you what he said, how he exegeted exegized the scripture that he said. It was so lazy. It reminds me of me when you have like the teen Sunday school, which is just like teen church after Sunday school, and then you still got to go to the big church later, and they want to talk to you about the word, and they ask you like, what do you think that means? And you're like, I did not go to school for this shit. You leave me alone, lady. You know what I mean? That sounds like one of the little middle schoolers would say. Just go watch it again. And after she's done reading the scripture and she basically gives her exegesis of it, listen to what he says. Another way that you know that he's not serious about this church stuff is that he pulled out his phone and typed in the scripture. He pulled it out and he typed it in. See, that's how you know. Yeah, there are Bibles online. There are Bibles in apps. There are Bibles on phones. Yes, everyone knows that. We all know that you can look up a Bible and go straight to the scripture. Lazy. You want to know why he didn't bring a Bible? Because he probably doesn't know where his Bible is. On top of not knowing where his Bible is, he more than likely probably wouldn't be able to find the scripture in the Bible anyway. You know those people that go to church and you know they don't go to church often, and when they say go to the scripture, they're going back and forth, and all you hear is flipping the paper until somebody's auntie grabs the Bible, puts their finger on the scripture and hands it to them so they can be the heck quiet so everybody else can listen to the word. That would be him, because he doesn't know what he's doing, because this is fake. Again, I don't care for the fans and the friends and the families of Chris Williams. I don't care. I'm watching it happen right in front of me. This is what he put out to the world. He wanted us to know this about him. This isn't editing. This is Chris. This is Chris holding up a phone instead of his Bible to have Bible study that he said he wanted the Bible study, where he did not bring a Bible, a pen, a marker, or a Sharpie, or the book cover, or his Bible to Bible study. Have you ever gone to Bible study without a Bible? I've never been to Bible study without a Bible. When I go to Bible study, I have a Bible. He could have stopped at the store to grab in Atlanta. He could have stopped at gas stations, have Bibles in Atlanta. Come on, man. Come on. Get out of here. This is so fake. It's fake. And it's irritating. This dude is irritating the mess out of me. Are y'all irritated? Like, in the comments, somebody say something in the comments. Are you irritated? Because I'm irritated. And I'm tired of talking about him. Holy mess. All right, thank goodness we're rounding the end of this horrible display of human garbage. So Paige is going through the thing. She exercised and the scripture, and she said what she thought it meant. He said what he thought it meant. When he was reading, he was like a little kid was reading, and he was putting his hand up and making the gestures like a little pastor. And I was like, shut up. You're so fake. And then she says something about the baby and the friendship, and she felt like she was being negligent by leaving you alone to deal with the pain of finding out that when you have raw sex, you impregnate people and that person can have a child. So she wasn't being sarcastic. I am. And then he's like, well, speaking of the baby, I bought my ex a brand new Mercedes. But first of all, let me say this. If he has the money to buy his ex a car, I don't care. I wouldn't care if that was my brand new husband and he had a child on the way, a child conceived before we ever knew each other, especially in their case, and before I was ever thought of, before we were married, right? And he bought her a brand new car and we just had money like that, which the show is trying to insinuate that he has money like that, then a brand new Mercedes is nothing. You can get a Benz for 50,000. I mean, how much money is that to somebody who's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're looking out for the safety of their child, right? So, and it's probably not like one of those really expensive ones that's over 150,000. It's probably one of the cheapies for about 50, right? So who cares? It's a new car. But that's not what bothered me about what he said and did. First of all, you bought it already. Just if you're thinking about buying somebody something that's not in your F chain, you should be talking about that with your wife. Even though their finances aren't together, they don't share dwellings, right? So it's doesn't affect her or her living, her quality of living, what he spends his money on, yet, if they're going to stay together. But that is something you discuss with your wife. That is something she needs to know, is how you're spending your money, because eventually, if you stay together, your funds are going to be together. So why isn't it something that he's talked about beforehand? This isn't something you just drop on somebody. You don't say, yeah, so I bought my ex-fiance a car sometime this week. She should have been in part of that conversation. She should have. With him, not with the ex-fiance, because she has nothing to do with it. It's nice that he did that for her because she didn't have a car. But the other thing that bothers me the most about it is, one, him not telling her beforehand. And the way he said he bought her a Benz. He could have said, I had to buy Mercedes a car because she ruined hers. But he wanted her to know it was a Benz. He wanted her to hear the expensiveness of that car. It's like he was enjoying telling her this news just so he could see her reaction, which leads me to believe what I've been saying this whole time. He is a sad, miserable garbage of a person. Who would sit there and tell somebody that they're married to something that they know that would create shock and awe? Something you could have lessened the blow by telling her when you were thinking of doing it. It's late. But he didn't. He didn't. You want to know why? Because he enjoys causing her pain. He loves the power he has over her, which leads me to believe that he doesn't have a lot of power outside of this relationship in anywhere in his life. Yeah, he may be successful. I know plenty of people who makes lots of money, 6 figures and above yearly, and they are miserable, miserable people. And even though they have money, it's not a lot of money, but even though they have that kind of money, they still don't have a lot of power. So yeah, I get it. I do. I get it. He's miserable and he wants her to be as miserable as she is. It seems like he's been trying to wipe that smile off her face since he met her. And it's like the messiness and the nastiness is getting worse over time. And I am not enjoying watching this. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate messy shows. A lot of them you can tell are scripted. The Love and Hoppers, the basketball hip hoppers, all of those. You can tell that stuff is scripted and fake and stuff, but it seems like Paige, girl, this seems like she's in there and she's feeling this stuff and she's hopeful and she's doe-eyed and she is optimistic about this relationship and this person. I'm not even going to call him a man. So no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Watching that it made me, where are her people? Where are her people? Are they watching this? Why don't y'all make videos and tell me what you thought when you saw this? There's no way I would let my sister, my cousin, my best friend, my neighbor, if you could be my damn neighbor, I will snatch you up so fast. I will be knocking on your door. Just knock, 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 knock. Paige, we need to talk. And that'll be the last we heard of Chris Williams. The last. Because there is no way I would let somebody I care about, somebody I love, get on TV and embarrass themselves the way that he has allowed. He's a sadist. You know what a sadist is? That's the person that enjoys inflicting pain, humiliation, or emotional trauma on other people. And it seems like he's a soap opera. He's a soap opera in an ugly pink shirt. That's what he is, in a stupid, nasty haircut. And his lining isn't even that good. Oof. I am disgusted. I am revolted. He is despicable. And I hope that she does something, because this is not working for me. It is not working for me. They keep calling him wildly successful. I don't see it. Somebody like him doesn't seem like he makes the best decisions. Not the best decisions. And I can tell. Not the best decisions. So, no, I don't think so. I didn't enjoy this episode. I don't enjoy Chris and Paige. I am so done with Paige. He literally sat there smiling, telling her about buying another woman a car after feeding her fried chicken. Fried chicken. He could even come from something from Mr. Chow's or just fried chicken. That's what you brought her? All the nice, beautiful restaurants out there, and you brought your wife fried chicken during a Bible study. A Bible study, you didn't even really participate. All you did was read a scripture on your phone. Thank God for that. Thank God for Siri, right? Because otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to find it. Not in the Bible. He is a mess, and I am done with him. I hope the rest of her people start calling him out on social media, because this is ridiculous. Well, anyway, this has been Swag the Illest, and I just reviewed Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10. I only did Paige and whatever his name is. I think they are the most interesting couples next to Brianna and whatever her husband is. I think they're the most interesting. And again, I'm really excited. I was excited to do it because I was excited to get the messages. Like I said, I don't know how you found my Instagram, but you did. And I was excited to get the messages. My content's going to revert back to my old stuff real soon now that I got my page up and running. So I will be doing more reviews. I'll even do reviews on stuff like this that I don't even watch normally. Tell me what you want to see, and I will review it. Anyway, again, I'm Swag the Illest. That's Swag the Illest. And I'm on Cash App under Swag the Illest. And I am on Instagram under swag.the.illest. For those of you who haven't stalked my page yet, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Stay elevated and stay blessed. Good night.